Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Finding Common Battleground. This is the podcast dedicated to representing both sides and hearing both sides of the spectrum. Tonight is special for a number of reasons. It's the State of the Union, but also tonight we're going to be doing things a little bit different on our podcast. We've got a few different things. We have some guests, Hunter and Jake. I'll introduce them more in just a second. We have we're going to be talking about, and because Hunter and Jake are here, we're going to have Josh is going to be trying to represent the other side. He's going to start playing for the other team and represent the liberal side. He's going to try his best. We're going to see how it goes.
Welcome to the dark side, Josh.
And then also our topic, we're going to be talking about generations, kind of a generational divide on some of the political topics that we talk about that we often bring up. And so Jake and Hunter are a little younger, and so they're going to give us some viewpoints from their side on a number of things. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to be talking about the economy, technology, healthcare, debt. So it's going to be good. But
when you say a little younger, they're friggin' millennials. Get off my lawn, you big millennials.
Turns out Josh is a boomer. Who knew Josh was a boomer this whole time?
I'm the oldest one here.
Okay, boomer.
Who's Jake, Hunter, bidets, in or out? What do you?
I'm in, but I don't own one. I've never won one of the contests, so I'm waiting till I win because I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to wait till I win one from the contest that I see on this podcast.
Hunter, you a wash or smear kind of a person?
I unfortunately have never had the fortune of trying a bidet. So,
okay, kick him off.
We're done. Show's over. Sorry.
He lives in Alaska. He might actually freeze his butthole.
Come on. He needs the heated one.
He does.
Come on, Hunter. A heated water bidet. Like you're in Alaska.
The podcast I've listened to, I'm almost there with the purchase.
So Hunter and Jake are longtime listeners, friends, and so they have strong political views, just like some of us on this show. We're going to be talking. Yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking. We're just going to jump into it. Jake, how old are you?
So I am 32.
32. And Hunter?
Yes.
I am 30, but I'll be 31 in a week and a half. So I'm almost there.
You guys are self-proclaimed millennials then?
Yes. Yeah.
Supposedly I fit in the range.
Definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go ahead and kind of dive into this. So we want to talk about millennials versus Gen X, right? Josh says he's borderline, but we're going to throw him in the Gen X bucket tonight. I'm definitely Gen X. And kind of our views of things. I have some thoughts on where you guys are going to go with this because I've ran into some millennials and had some political conversations, and those have been interesting and kind of like what they've talked about, how they were different. But like let's talk about the economy, and let's talk about like where you guys stand now. We want to try and, I'd like to see like, as the idea is we're going to try and get the other side to agree. So you're going to like, if you can, promote some statements that like you could try to get Ryan and Josh to agree on. But Jake, you want to go first, and then Hunter, you talk, and then Josh and Ryan can give some follow-up.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So is the idea for topic more just generally, like what's my general opinions on the economy?
Yeah, I want to see where this goes.
Yes, but also the economy is complicated, right? And now, what's your take on where things are? And particularly how it affects you, I think, is the key, right? So how is the economy affecting you?
Yeah, so this one probably won't be, I guess some of my politics fall into this, but my opinion is the economy is absolutely horrendous. I don't think I'll ever own a home. So in just kind of like full disclosure, I'm going to give vague numbers, but I have been an attorney for just a short period of time, but I started my own firm, and already within the demographics of Utah, I'm like a top 5% earner, and I still don't think even remotely close to buying a home. Like when I started talking to lenders, because I'm self-employed, I need 20% down. They're asking me for six, and granted, I'm not looking at like small starter homes. I'm looking at like relatively nicer homes, but I'm looking at mortgage payments of 6 to 7 grand a month. I mean, that's more money than like I've ever seen my parents earn per month. And I'm expected to pay that in a mortgage. So I'm kind of
For
in
30
this
years.
position. Yeah, for 30 years. Well, not even that, 45 years. Because we now have these new mortgage loans where we can get a mortgage for 45 years. And
Wow.
it's going to, yeah, it'll save my payment 200 a month. But across that 200 a month, I'm paying like 3 million for a $700,000 home. So home ownership is shot in my mind. I don't think I'm ever really going to own like a great home unless I don't know, like win the lottery or just slave away 80 hours a week for the rest of my life. So generally speaking, I do think I hate where the economy's at, but it's kind of in this position of like, there's going to be those who make it and those who don't. And kind of my take on it is if I have to screw over a bunch of people so that me and my family are good, I'll do that because I want to be one of the ones that makes it in this pretty like cutthroat economy where it's either you're poor or you're doing okay. And that's my general opinion on economy right now is pretty negative, I would say.
What was that last statement? If I have to screw over, or was that?
Yeah. Yeah, if I have to screw over everyone else, yeah, then I'm gonna do it. I'm looking out for myself. So I'm really not this. I wouldn't say I have a view of let's look out for the community. I'm also holding my daughter for a second. I don't really have a view of take care of those around me. It's I starve or my family or someone else starves, and I'd rather someone else starve over myself. That's generally speaking my opinion.
Okay.
Pretty big disconnect right there from previous generations.
Yeah,
Really.
we'll definitely come back to it. Hunter lives in a different environment. I'm interested.
I was just gonna say we got to get Jake up here because houses are relatively affordable out on the last frontier. We just moved into a house, so that's why I say that. But one thing I've noticed from my peers and people like in our age group is the view of debt and how to be economically secure in your own finances. Like the Dave Ramseys and those kind of people don't seem to hold as much sway with people my age. It seems like that was mom and dad's financial advisor, and I think that the view on debt is let it rack up. Like if I can just live my life how I want to and let that debt keep going, that's my kid's problem to deal with. It's not as like living in this debt-free mindset, you'll never get out of it, and so then you'll just be a slave to trying to get out of it instead of enjoying your life, which has been an interesting, and I think I've seen that shift even just in the last like 5 years even. Just my peers are like, oh, I can't really afford this boat, but I'm going to go buy it because why not? The debt'll move with me, and then I'll die. And
yeah, as we say as millennials, we say YOLO a lot. You only live once. Yeah. Like why not?
But as far as like the economy, I guess millennials haven't lived long enough to see the different swings. I mean, like 2008. I mean, I remember my dad talking about the housing crisis and stuff like that, and how much it impacted him. But since then, I mean, there's been minor recessions, but there hasn't been anything crazy that's impacted our lives. So I think that's part of the reason that we have that mindset. We really haven't been as bad as we feel like the economy is. There isn't this turmoil of unemployment and crazy recession. So
now when you guys, because it sounded like Jake was saying like the economy, but you're almost talking like the system. Like it's like, because I mean like the economies can give, like I think the economy is not in good shape right now, but it can be, it's been better like a few years ago. And you're saying like overall like the system is sort of stacked in a way that you're getting squeezed. Is that fair, Jake?
Tom sounds like a sociologist right now. He's talking about social structure. Yeah, I dig it.
Oh, right. Yeah, but I love that. It's the best.
Thank you, Josh.
Yes. Sociology.
Get on board. Get on board, Josh. This is how this is supposed to work tonight. So kind of related to what Tom was saying, I'm really interested in Jake and Hunter's take on Why? Why is it that home prices are unaffordable in Utah and why people are just accepting debt? And I don't know that it's entirely a generational thing. I think we can come back to that, but I'm genuinely interested in your take on like why? What do you think is happening? What's causing this?
Before they jump into that, I want to hear that too. They're not the only ones that I've heard this from. I know, and largely it is millennials, people that haven't bought a house yet. Um, I don't want to out anybody, but I've heard the same thing. Like I have this person I know, they keep going on vacations. They make okay money. They don't own a house. And I asked, like, what are you doing? Aren't you saving up for a house? And the response was, well, I'll never afford a house. We're just going to keep going on vacations and rack up debt and buy nice cars. They just don't care anymore. This is a thing. So it's not just Jake and Hunter. I've seen it other places. So yeah, back to Ryan's question. I want to hear the answer to this too.
Well, we'll just say like give a little bit more context to that, and then go to the question. I do a lot of estate planning, so I speak with people across all different age ranges about, well, how are you planning for the end of your life? And boomers are all about like, hey, I'm gonna leave something for my kids, or sorry, like baby boomers. I'm gonna leave something to my kids. They're gonna have something to inherit. And then as you go down the generational chain, it's more like, well, I'm gonna leave a little. I'm gonna leave nothing to F them kids. I'm gonna spend all my money is what it is. Like, and especially people in my age, we're not planning for our children because we can barely plan for ourselves. So I mean, just like say that I don't think I'm alone in that view. I think it's pretty common. And it seems like through the generations, the view on how I'm gonna leave a legacy and how much wealth I'm gonna accumulate just has shifted down to where we don't think we'll ever have any. Or at least my age and younger, I think. Um, but Hunter, do you want to answer the question first or you want me to?
I mean, I don't pretend to understand economics. I did get a minor in economics, but that's only because I showed up to class and participated somewhat. So I definitely don't understand anything. But it's interesting to see like I think a lot of the affordability on housing comes with the interest rates, and those are always fluctuating. So it's hard to pin down. Like today, interest rates are fairly high, but I mean, in the past, you guys are probably better on the date ranges, but it was extremely high in like the 70s or something sometime.
70s and 80s, it was 80s. Way higher than it is, like double what it is now.
But when I bought my first house in Ogden during undergrad, it was the best decision I ever made because it was right before COVID and the interest rates were like 2%. And then housing prices went through the roof, and then I sold it, and that's how I paid for law school. So like there's different opportunities based on like interest rates, and I don't understand all the economic impacts on that. Obviously the people in different administrations have a big impact. Side note, so I'm a lawyer, but the Supreme Court came out and shot down Trump's tariffs, his global tariffs, and then he turned around and hiked it back up. I thought that was interesting, but volatility of the market is, I think, what creates this uncertainty. And I think that's why younger people are like, well, tomorrow we could be great or, not. So YOLO, as Jake said. But
Well, no, I agree with what Hunter's saying. I didn't get a minor in economics, so I probably know less than him, to be honest, about like national economics, global economics. But my very like limited view on why this is happening, I do think it comes from corporate greed. Um, and I think these tariffs are a pretty prime example. I'm not totally sure like how true this is, but what I've heard, oh, my child's gonna yell at us. But what I've heard is so Trump made these tariffs, right? And these tariffs were massive. And then the Supreme Court came out and said, well, some of these tariffs were wrong. So what's gonna happen is the money that was taken from these companies, I think, is going to be given back to the companies. But what's comical is like, well, the companies didn't eat that cost. They made me pay for it. Like my food got crazy expensive, my car got expensive. Like I have a pretty decent truck, but I spent a crap ton of money to buy an F-150. Like the truck that the everyday American should have is unaffordable right now, just because tariffs hit everything. I mean, I think tons of the computer chips are manufactured in China, and so when tariffs hit, like they increase the prices on all of those. And I paid the cost, but now these corporations are double dipping essentially. They still made their profits off of me, but now they're going to make it on the back end because the government's like, oh well, sorry, we screwed you, companies. So I think a lot of the my despair with the financial situation comes from corporate greed. And that'd be my answer. I think my short answer is corporate greed.
Cool. Can I jump in real quick? Because I just want to see Josh's head explode. Do you know what Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota just did?
No, on what?
Something really good.
Yeah, this is awesome. He actually is planning on filing a lawsuit now that those tariffs have been overturned by the Supreme Court, saying that he wants every Minnesotan to get $1,700 back because that's how much he estimates they overpaid as a result of Trump's tariffs. So that's Tim Walz trying to get money back for the little man. Josh.
But is he going to pay us back for all the money the Somalis embezzled over there?
But I'm just saying, like, this is literally Jake just said that corporations are going to get all the money. And then we have a Democratic governor who's like, I'm going to bat for the individual citizens. Y'all need to kind of say, okay, I agree with him. Come on.
If he has some sort of numbers that make sense to back that up, I'm actually okay with it. I'm on your side, Ryan.
Did you just agree with Tim Walz?
Hey, he loves Tim Walz tonight.
Yeah, tonight. No, Democrats don't even like Tim Walz. I'm sorry. He's a tool bag. Okay, I'm on Ryan's side. Howard Lutnick, he's Secretary of Commerce, right? Do you know how much money?
In the Epstein files, yes.
Do you know how much money his law firm just made on this tariff buyback stuff?
Oh, I'm sure billions.
Yeah, like it's absurd. They bought. I don't even know how it works. I've seen the headlines. His law firm, and it's him and his two sons. Mm-hmm. They bought a whole bunch of the. I don't know how it works. I just know that they bought low and sold high. They made bank on this whole tariff thing exploding, like millions, maybe billions. Okay, Ryan, who's Howard Lutnick?
Well, he's in the Epstein files.
He's Trump's Secretary of Commerce or something, right?
And
he's a Trump guy.
He and his sons have been in business with Trump and his sons for years.
Yeah. That's not a very good look, is it? How am I doing, Ryan?
Go, Josh! Fist bump, fist bump from the screen, man.
I told you I could do it.
These corrupt, greedy bastards. Okay, so
they're ruining. I agree with Jake and Hunter there. These douchebags are ruining it for everybody. Where's the money going?
I think it's more complicated, but okay. So Jake and Hunter had a chance to kind of describe the economic situation. Now, I think what might be useful. Sorry, Tom, I'm like stealing your role as moderator.
No,
but
please.
For the non-millennials on the call, and we'll come back to this whole generations thing later, to give a take on like where we are, how the economy has worked for us, if we're willing to kind of describe that, and then address the same question, which is like, why do we think the economy is the way that it is? So, and I certainly don't have to start, but like, Tom, do you want to start and explain like how have things worked for you as a whatever we are, Gen Z or something? I don't know what we are.
Gen X. Yeah, no. Well, I think Jake. I think he summed it up pretty well in that. Yeah, like baby boomers have been set up well, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that like it's actually the baby boomer, which was the largest demographic before millennials, have actually curated a good economic policy for them, right? And that like there's just all these examples of like things because they've been the largest voting bloc. They've been able to vote in a way that advantaged them, and they have done well, and they're like the biggest like demographic of like that holds like the most wealth right now, and high like large amount of ownership and things like that. I think like Gen X, I think it's just like Jake's saying. It's like we've like there's been a trickle down effect of that economic policy in that Gen X has benefited from that. I think all of us are, Josh, Ryan, and I are all homeowners when we're not burning our houses down, and we have been able to basically make it right and look to the future, and then but yeah, I can also see like what he's saying. Like people have been like the American dream, like kind of was in grasp with us if we had for Gen X, if they had a good head on their shoulders. But the feedback I've gotten is similar, is that like millennials, Gen Z, like the American dream is just this kind of fleeting thing.
It's unattainable. I'll go next.
Josh, yeah, go.
So I'm right on the tail end of that Gen X thing. Depending on the time frame scale you look at, some consider my birth year millennial, but well, we're not. People I know don't identify as millennial. But it was the American dream was even starting to fade when I reached adulthood. Okay, it wasn't because before that it was go to college, get a 4-year degree, you'll get a great job, and then it's gravy train after that. You can go live the American dream, buy your house with the white picket fence, no problem. No, like after I got home from my mission, got married, school prices were already starting to skyrocket. And when I first got married, insurance was very affordable. Within 5 years, it had gone up about 800%. Like insurance just skyrocketed all of a sudden. Like Jake, I'm self-employed. That was a huge hurdle for me, right? I was lucky enough that the Dave Ramsey advice still kind of worked for me. My wife and I were very frugal. We scrimped and saved. She was able to stay home with the kids. I worked hard, blue collar job, but we had to save for like over almost 7 years. And then we were able to buy a house during the downturn in 2008. And we paid very little. I mean, we were very careful. We were very savvy. We were very lucky getting the house we got for the price we paid for it. That house is now worth, well, as soon as we finish rebuilding it, thanks for bringing up the fire, Tom, you piece of crap. It's worth about 600% more than what we paid for it, right? Because of how the market has priced everybody out. And we were right on the tail end of that. If we hadn't bought the house when we did, I wouldn't own a house either. So it was still attainable. The American dream was still attainable for me, but just barely. Like we barely got it, right? Now I'm looking at these young kids coming up. I'm looking at Jake and Hunter and they should be upwardly mobile professionals, right? I don't know how these young guys are going to buy houses unless, like Hunter, they move to the very fringe. Like he had to go to Alaska. Housing prices are insane. Insurance prices are insane. I took Ryan and I's dad out to lunch today. He was telling me what he used to pay for insurance back in the day, insuring all of his buildings that he owned as a self-employed guy, all of his fleet of vehicles, and his 9 kids. It was like $250 a month or something like that. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I just put my 16-year-old on our insurance, and it was a lot more than that. Okay, everything's been priced out for this young generation, and that's not to say nothing of inflation and food and all that stuff. So it was attainable when I became an adult, but just barely. I don't know how young kids are going to do it. Right?
Yeah, I think our story is actually very similar, Josh. And Tom's is probably similar as well. It's not like, I served a mission too. So it's not like I served a mission, came home, went to college, which I did go to college, and then immediately landed some 6-figure job and was just like rolling in cash and bought whatever I wanted. My wife and I worked for about a year after we finished our undergrad degrees, saved up enough money to buy, I kid you not, a $30,000 condo in Cincinnati, Ohio, while we went to graduate school. So that was our first place, and it was a shithole, right? It was not nice. We were not living it up, and we made it, right? We made it work. We made it through without massive amounts of debt. And then based on that and what we had saved up, we were able to buy a very modest house. Josh has been to my house. Tom, have you been to my house? I'm trying to think.
Yeah, Ryan, as you're telling your story, I just for context, I'd love to hear numbers. Like you say,
actual numbers,
the house that you bought, you say your tuition, because I'd love to hear what those numbers are, just because it'd be interesting to compare them to my own.
For sure. So this is going to be really different compared to your experience in law school for a variety of reasons. So college, I never paid tuition. Right. I had an honors and entrance scholarship because I worked really, really hard in high school and got several scholarships. So I
nerd
fully embrace my nerdiness, 100% embrace my nerdiness. Never going to say anything bad about that. So that helped, right? My wife, same thing. She had scholarships. So we came out of undergrad with 0 debt. right? Like I said, we worked for a year, saved up. We got really lucky during that year. We were
Do you
living
know what it would have been, your tuition, if you didn't have scholarships?
University of Utah, 1990s. I don't know what it would have been. Thousands, not tens of thousands, probably thousands.
I
Yeah,
paid. I got my 4-year and graduated from the U. I paid out of pocket. I don't even know what it was, but it wasn't bad.
No,
I didn't have to take out a loan.
Right. Then grad school, similar situation, right? So this is where things are going to be very different, and Jake's going to be like, screw you, you suck. Jake went for law school, right? Law school is very different from the research-oriented disciplines. So in my research-oriented discipline, I got a stipend, right? Because I worked as a graduate assistant and a teaching assistant. Basically 20 hours a week is what I was expected to work. So I actually got paid and my tuition was covered. So I didn't have to take, I mean, I could have taken out loans, but I didn't take out loans. Now, how much did I get paid? I was making $14,000 a year. Okay. So am I killing it? Right? Was I like going on luxury vacations or no? We had, if I'm remembering correctly, right, the size of our condominium was like a 600 square foot condo in a not very nice part of Cincinnati. Okay. So we were not living luxuriously. Could we still afford 2 cars? Yeah. Right. They were older cars. They worked, they were fine. And it wasn't entirely like paycheck to paycheck, but it wasn't like we were rolling in the dough. My wife was getting her master's at the same time. She graduated after 2 years and then worked. And her first job out, I'm not going to remember exactly what her salary was, but it was probably somewhere around $45,000 was her starting salary when she got her master's in 2003. So she worked.
Were you guys living on just your 15 grand stipend?
Yeah. For 2 years.
Can you guys imagine living off that? There's
for
no
2
way
years.
In the current economy, you could do that.
Yeah. I did basically. We lived off of 16,000 a year. My first 2 years of law school is what we had, and loans kind of covered what we couldn't make. Well, loans and plasma donations. I have permanent scars on both my arms from donating plasma 2 times a week, every week for 3 years.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. That's shitty. I get it.
And if I can interrupt, I don't want to interrupt you because I feel like
go for it.
Made your complete point. But a lot of what I'm hearing, and I think that's maybe part of the disconnect through the generations, is you worked your butt off through high school to make sure you got a scholarship, and you were living in a crappy part of Cincinnati, and you had older cars, right? I think there's definitely the keeping up with the Joneses has set in with everybody. You know, as life gets better and we get smartphones and iPhones and stuff like that, the lifestyle creep comes in. So it's not necessarily that people now couldn't do it, but they're not willing to put in the sacrifice and the work ethic to achieve it. Like,
why do you think that is? Because I've seen the same thing and I have my own theories, but why do you guys think that is? Because I think that's accurate. I don't think this younger generation wants to sacrifice anything.
Well, okay. Sorry. I wanted to maybe see if I could change I want to pose a question and I'm trying to move us along a little bit, but, and I'm not sure if we'll get political or not.
Yeah,
right? We're just kind of having this discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
But
we might just be doing the economy tonight and that's it.
Well, let's do one thing political. I think Tim Walz's idea is stupid, even though I still am on board.
You're the one who said you wanted it.
Not in that way. That way is so wrong. That's what screwed us the first time. Is the government's like, hold on, you're getting screwed. Let me go fire up the printer. I'm going to print out $6 billion and I'm just going to give it to the people. That's not what fixes it. That makes it worse. Because now there's more money in circulation. Everything's inflated more. The companies are still like, oh, they got more money now. The government just printed it. I didn't have to pay them. So they got more money to pay us. So the idea of government's going to step in, fix my problems, I hate. What I would prefer is these companies have to pay the price. I mean, much like 2008, maybe I'm not really Republican, but I'm certainly not Democrat. I just hate government. And when it comes down to it, it's like 2008 was a problem too, because the solution to that was bail out banks. It wasn't make banks pay the price. It's not make corporations pay the price for their greed and their inflation. And sure, it was the government who sparked the tariffs that mandated the increase in price. But the companies didn't eat the cost. They passed it directly to us. And not it. 100%. On some cases, at like 200%. They're like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity. We can creep up our prices even more. So the fix isn't Tim Walz's idea. That's just going to make it worse. I think the fix is to start letting companies die and fail. Like, we don't need to bail out every major company. And so, I mean,
Right.
if I try to poke the bear, that's my political poke at Tim Walz because I don't like him.
Well, all right, you're that was basically the segue I was going into. Let me just cue it up, and then I want Hunter's take on this as well. But like, so because yeah, we're on this unsustainable path as far as the government spending, right? And like so far, it's been the printer, right? We've printed 2008, we printed 2020, we printed, and like everyone's feeling it because we're getting inflation and the squeeze. And like, so there's like two ways you make it sustainable. There's austerity, right? Which is like reduce your spending, which was the idea behind Doge, right? And like, we're going to reduce government spending, which failed.
Which did nothing, did jack shit.
Well,
Hey, there's a baby right there, Ryan. Come on.
Sorry.
Ryan
Yeah.
laughs.
Freaking
But
dope.
like earphones
On
in,
headphones,
so
you're
we're
good. You're good. You can
Well-
say whatever profanities you want.
But the issue, well, so the issue would be, so austerity didn't work. So I don't know if you've heard Elon Musk talking about it, but he's saying the only way we can fix this is robots in increasing our production so high that we can like afford all this, that we can have this wealth. But history would tell us what always happens is we print, right? We print our way out of it. And like, if you look at like the Roman Empire, there's like graphs on the Roman Empire of what is like a denarius or a denarii would buy for a bushel of wheat. And it kept like, if you see the graph, it just keeps increasing and keeps increasing because they put less and less silver into the coins. And so it's like inflation. And I get this sense that like we're at the end of the empire kind of thing. And I get this like YOLO like is like, well, the system's going to crash, so it doesn't even matter kind of a thing is the sense I keep getting, and like from what I'm hearing from you, but I've also heard it from before. But like, yeah, I want to hear from you, Hunter, and then Jake, anything you want to add to that. So
I mean, that's basically my understanding is we either have to outproduce the amount of spending and basically grow our GDP to a point where it's comparable to inflation or outgrowing it. And I think Trump's, maybe he didn't say it, but he like steered towards it. He's like, oh, we could grow by like 16%. And just, I don't agree with that because I think it's impossible. The size of the GDP to suddenly outproduce it by like 16% would be pretty crazy. But the one thing that did stick through with me through economics is it was a South American country. It might have been Venezuela or Argentina that they basically just restarted the currency. So it was Argentina. Kind of that same idea where they had inflated the currency so far that it was just worthless. And it was a restart, right? So they said, well, now here's your new currency. This is what a gallon of milk costs. It's one of those, right? And I don't remember it enough to speak to it, but it sounds like Ryan's at least backing me up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it has to be, is there's going to have to be some pain, and that doesn't get you elected. And I think that's why it hasn't changed for America, is because nobody likes the pain. And it's going to be, either, I guess that's not really an opinion, but I think you're right. I think there's ways to change it. It's just going to hurt a lot to get there. And I don't know that the American people are willing to do that right now.
Well, who wants to be the politician that causes the pain?
Right. Exactly.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, and Jake is saying push it back on the corporations. I mean, and I'm trying to think like how that's going to work. Like what is the, like, how would that look? What
the only mechanism to do that is the government.
Well, guess what Trump just said? I'm watching State of the Union on another screen. He just said, I want to take all the money away from the big insurance companies and give it back to the people so they can buy their own plans. He just said that just now. Interesting.
Yeah.
He's got to have some angle. There's no way that he actually
there's an angle on that I've read.
He's got something. Yeah.
Yeah. The money, I think, is coming back still to the insurance companies, just through a different avenue on that.
Yep.
But again, I don't know enough about that to speak intelligently. But I'm gonna, in a lot of the previous podcasts, because again, I'm a very frequent listener and I've been on it twice before. I go back and forth on like, what are my political aspirations in the future? Do I ever want to be a judge? If so, I should probably mellow my actual opinions because I think some of mine are pretty extreme. And when it comes to the fixes, I've had discussions with other people, like even people on this call before. I think the fix is not so much what Argentina did, but more what France did. We just start executing people. Like we
That
there's
is
certain
extreme.
people. It is extreme. There's certain people that are ruining the country, and if we start to have this more fear of like, oh well, there's actually going to be accountability for my bad political opinions.
Yes.
If my bad political opinions lead to like an economic crisis where homes are unaffordable, milk is unaffordable, and food is unaffordable, we can't even buy bread, which is close. I mean, again, like I feel like I do pretty well financially, and I struggle to buy fast food. Like going to McDonald's hurts me, and so we're getting to that stage where it's like, are we going to reset the system not by deleting the money and starting over with different money, or are we going to reset the system by saying, all right, I have $50,000 in credit card debt, but screw Capital One, I'm never paying you again, and then we just start chopping off executives. I mean, you have Louis, the dude who shot the
Yeah.
Mangione?
healthcare,
Luigi.
yeah, Mangione, yeah. I think that's just going to keep progressing forward because I don't think, even though I sound extreme in this viewpoint, I think that it's actually becoming a real idea and really prevalent. And I kind of intentionally like exaggerate my position to make the point, but I do think the reset and the fix to the economy problem comes through like real consequences in politics. Because right now there are none. Like you can
Right.
have a political opinion and you can be absolutely horrendous, but stay in office for 60
Oh,
years because oh, go ahead.
We're seeing that play out in real time with the Epstein files. We just talked about this before the podcast. We know there's hundreds, maybe thousands of powerful people in this country that have been implicated, that they were diddling kids.
Yeah.
Everybody agrees, left and
Yeah,
right.
we know
That's
it.
not good. And nothing's happening.
No.
These people are not being held accountable for
So,
anything.
and not to like out people we know, but we all
We
the
know
top
somebody on
three
the
on this
Epstein
row.
files?
No.
That would be
So,
amazing.
yeah,
Like,
no,
come on, spill the beans.
no, not
Get
that,
them
not
on
on
the
that.
podcast.
Yeah, no, it's actually me. No, just kidding. So, so the three Cragans in this row here, we all know somebody, mutual acquaintance. I probably am closer related to him than the two of you, so I think that narrows it down. I'm helping him with some expungements. He spent, I think it was like almost 12 months in prison for, I think, a pound of marijuana. And that
Wow.
was not that long ago. And I was sitting there thinking about it because I did his expungement this week. And I was like, man, he's serving he served a harsher punishment for like a pound of marijuana than anybody named on the Epstein list is ever going to serve. So it's
Sure.
it's that kind of stuff is pretty disgusting to me.
So I have to jump in here. I love how Marxist Jake is right now. This is straight up like a Russian revolution, right?
He
Overthrow
did.
the oligarchs.
Except
Overthrow
I don't
them
want to
and kill
replace
them.
it with socialism
kill
or
'em.
anything like that.
Well, I mean, you're talking about a forced redistribution of wealth, right? That's
No, I don't
basically
want
what
to
you're saying.
redistribute. I don't want the
Oh,
redistribution of wealth because I still believe that you should be able to start a company, grow a company, but I believe that there should be a firmer line on when does the antitrust kind of role of the government step in, and I don't think it steps in soon enough right now.
Well, you're advocating for a free market, but you're saying it's no longer a free market, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
right?
and I think this is, again, I'm not an economist, so I'm speaking out of my butt here. But when it comes to like how we fix the free market, I think we're so late stage in the capitalism game that the guys that have won. I mean, now it's just their kids are winning. So I don't really know how we continue capitalism unless we just restart it, which maybe the Argentina way is the peaceful way to do it. Maybe my killing everyone way is the way to do it. I don't
know. Fight Club. We need Fight Club.
Yeah, let the strong rule again. Let's just start
blow up all of the banking institutions and erase all of the banking records.
Yeah, all the debt and everything. Yeah, just start over. See what happens.
That was the premise of Fight Club. Well, that and crazy guy beating himself up, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's super extreme. Like realistically, I don't think that's what I would want to see happen, but I just don't know. another road.
Historically, it's not that extreme. You're just describing the French Revolution. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
You had the haves. There were very few of them, and they had everything, and the have-nots. And that's who most of them were. And as soon as the have-nots have had enough, the haves disappear, usually with their heads cut off, right? It's not like that's the only place that's happened, and that's all you're describing.
Well, and maybe it does kind of fall back into the
redistribution of wealth.
It is. But have you guys ever seen A Bug's Life? You seen that movie?
Yeah.
It's very similar to this policy. Like grasshoppers are like, they're like, hey, we have the power, but there's like a million ants, right? So I mean, it's the same thing, but in a way, it is forced redistribution of wealth. But I don't want like regularly reoccurring. Like Elon Musk's idea, I think is stupid, where he's like, hey, let's just increase it with robots to where now we just have like a universal income or something. It's like the government's gonna step in and provide a universal income. I hate that idea too.
Well, we may have to get there if we get to the point where the robots are doing everything, right?
Yeah, if the robots are doing everything,
we have to do something.
What do we do?
Or we go to a cashless society because we're already a surplus society. We don't need to have poverty anymore. We just choose to do that. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well, yes, if the robots are taking all the jobs, then who's buying anything, right? So, right. Yeah, that would be a complete overhaul of our society.
It would have to change.
Interesting. I'm skeptical. Maybe we can so short of a revolution, well, the funny thing is okay, so a couple of things. I think we are seeing that something has to change. I'm like it's that we are on an unsustainable path, like the Luigi case, right, of the assassination of the United Healthcare CEO, and but like I think we're just seeing a level of corruption. I'm just that just is not sustainable, right? And something does have to change, and like hopefully it's not a bloody affair, but like that we can do it in some way. But yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to look like. I did want to. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I had this conversation with a guy that's like kind of like a known.
He's an uber racist, Tom.
Yeah, he's a white supremacist, and like he's like, but he is like, and he is a millennial, and he is like, and he made this comment. That's why I keep thinking of it, because he's like, you're older, you don't understand. He's like, my generation, we're ready for action. Like we're ready to burn it down. And and he was like, he's like I'm ready to start killing people kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, yeah, I'm just, like wait. He's kind of waiting for everything to fall apart. And he's like, all right, let's go. Right. And I'm just like, oh, wow, that's a new conversation I've never heard. But like, it seems to be more common with the younger generation. And I'm not saying like that they're bloodthirsty, but that, but some sort of a reset in a sense, right? That is inevitable, but imminent.
So even the elites know this. Trump just said on State of the Union, he said, I'm trying to pass a insider trader act. So anybody that's using insider knowledge to profit is going to get prosecuted. And the Democrats stood up. And then he immediately said, did Nancy Pelosi stand up?
you do realize, right? Like he is the ultimate insider trader.
I know. That's why I'm saying he's
the irony of him
problem.
Saying that.
He knows
he's saying things.
I know.
He's going to do nothing.
I'm agreeing with you. He's saying, because the elites know this is an issue that we're all really fired up about now. He's saying, well, we're going to address it. I don't think they actually are. But that's what he's saying in the State of the Union, which is, it's kind of funny how this is just keeps paralleling what we keep talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like there's insider trading, and then there's like getting a plane from like the United Emirates,
or whatever it was.
Right? Yeah. It's like okay, thanks.
He's not doing any insider trading. He's just trading, and
he's doing outsider trading.
Yeah,
he's just trading. He's just like bribes. He's just blatant corrupt. That's what he is. Jake, you were going to say something. You unmuted. Yes, they are.
No, it was nothing good. we can move past.
Were you calling for the death of specific people at this point?
Don't do
I have
that.
names.
He's got a list.
Nothing that's going to help me get that judgeship. So
no.
Just I don't want to
No.
make this the podcast of Hunter and Jake's feelings about things, but I like what Tom's saying. Like the younger generation seem more ready to mobilize. I don't know if I see that. Definitely in certain groups, maybe you have an uptick in Ruby Ridge type people, but and Alaska's definitely one of those places where there's a lot more people who. But I feel like up here it's more of a I'm ready to go out to my cabin in the woods and good luck finding me kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, even like homesteading, right? Like I think in our generation, a lot of people are like, well, man, I just wish I could have like a couple chickens and not have to eat processed food. Like I think our generation is moving away from wanting anything to do with the government because we just see it fail us left and right. So I don't know. Well, in the call to violence thing too, I don't think that's necessarily a generational issue. I think it goes back to the French, like the haves and have-nots. I personally see when I was in Oregon. Yeah, it's circumstantial. Like when people have nothing, they'll do whatever they need to get something. Like we would be in Target, and I've never seen theft like I saw in Oregon, but like it was never an age like a younger, older stealing from Target. It was just the poor people, the people who were sleeping on the street. They walk in, they would grab like 3 sleeping bags, some deodorant, and they'd walk out. It's because what they needed to survive. So I don't think it's necessarily a call to violence by the younger generation, but it's a call to violence by the people who are like, they don't have it. And now to get political, where I think, and I do a lot of this, and I think I intentionally crank up my politics and my views on this, but I think where I'm seeing the issue on the aisles is the Democrats that don't have, their solution is government give me. And the Republicans that don't have, their solution is, okay, I'm going to go take it in like an aggressive way, maybe. And that's what I'm seeing like in the small circle that I have been involved in throughout my time in Oregon and my time in Utah. So I know it's not strictly like that, but I'm kind of seeing those to be the trends.
What do you mean take it in an aggressive way? Like I'm going to be cutthroat business, or you mean like actually take it from people?
Kind of both. I'm seeing both. I'm seeing, and even my statement at the beginning, like I think it's the mentality isn't so much I'm going to build up my community anymore. It's if I can make my business succeed at the expense of the other law firm down the street, I do that. Like I regularly get other attorneys fired because I know if I am a better attorney, I'm going to make more money. And even if it means he's out of the job, I don't care. Like I'm going to do for me what I need to do for my family kind of thing.
Right. And well, yeah, I don't necessarily think that's bad, but yeah,
I think that's sad.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah. Actually, it's the breakdown of society.
It is.
Well, right.
It's like it's just me. I mean, I talk about how selfish Florida is all the time. I'm not bringing up Florida politics. I'm not going to do it this episode.
Liar. But you will.
I will not. But it is really frustrating to live in a state where every time I get on the road, somebody's going to cut me off. Somebody's going to break the law. Somebody's going to do something because fundamentally it's about them.
Well, this probably goes back to that cheating issue that you talked about, Ryan, with your students, where now you're seeing this new generation of students don't care if they get caught cheating. It's more about, I just want a grade. I want to get through. I don't care about the morality of it. I'm just in it for me. So,
well, I guess what I'm saying is throughout history has been extremely cutthroat and competitive, right? Like within, just always, it's really, I'd say in the last, the Pax Americana, which is the last 70 years where we've had like the rise of the corporations and like pensions and in career jobs where you've been like, oh, we're all in this together. Before it was like eat is a dog eat dog world, right? And that was, feel that was very common, and I actually think that makes us stronger as individuals in many ways. But
but it breaks down society.
Exactly.
So there was
But and this gets to our racism thing. Is I think you guys have talked about tribalism a lot, and it's actually like sparked a lot of thought for me. It's like, man, is that who I am? Like, am I a tribalistic person? Because I think about, well, who would I not stab in the back to get ahead? And I think you guys probably fall in that group. Like I wouldn't murder you guys, but if you're not,
I'm glad that we're not on the list.
My list. But and like maybe I am tribalistic. I think it's definitely I have the mentality of I'm going to be number one at the expense of others. But if you're in my circle, I'm not going to feel that way to you. It's just, I think, and I'm probably speaking just for me, not like my generation, but I think maybe in your guys' generation, it was like, hey, America's our circle. Like, if America's great, we're great. I don't know. But in my generation, I think it kind of comes down to, well, it's not even just America. Like, I would love to be more patriotic. I just don't see the country as a whole as like something I can identify with. So my circle is shrinks, and like the people who I want to be in the tribe with is shrinking, if that makes sense.
I think you're describing the breakdown of civilization of our society, right? That as the society, you're a proud nation, but as society breaks down, now it becomes more fractured, more tribalistic, and that leads to more bigotry across the board because now you're breaking down into smaller tribes.
Yeah.
So
is it safe to say that's happening? I think
so.
It might be. I read a great paper came out of China, which is actually super interesting, talking about, so you've heard of countries that are more individualistic, right? Where it's like all about the individual. And then you have countries that are more collectivistic. And Tom knows Japan very, very well. They're very collectivistic. What they ended up showing, which is super fascinating, is that it was based on the primary crop that they were growing. So if you grow wheat, wheat you can totally grow on your own. Rice requires massive amounts of irrigation, and that requires everybody to cooperate in the village to make sure everybody gets the right amount of water. So in societies that grew a lot of rice, they were very collectivistic because they had to work together for everybody to survive. In wheat growing towns and villages, they were far more individualistic because they could do it on their own. They didn't need anybody else to do it. And they show like really compellingly that this holds all the way across China. Because they would just go like village by village, and it's continued all the way through to today, that same sense of like camaraderie, communalism has maintained in these societies over time because of whether you grew rice or wheat. So, I mean, to get to the bigger like ultimate picture, if we all have to work together to survive, we actually care a lot about it.
We're friends.
If it's I can stab you in the back and I survive, I will.
Yeah.
And
maybe that's like
if you can.
Sorry. Yeah. No, you're totally fine. And maybe that's just like the end goal. And I wouldn't say end goal, but kind of the end result of capitalism towards the end is like we've all kind of fallen into our windows. Like, I'm not a farmer and a hairstylist. Like, I don't do every profession like they used to. So I mean, I am so narrow. People only need me for a microscopic window of their life. And so I can see the breakdown of like us as a community because, I mean, even when I think your guys' dad grew up, he was a member of the community. He was a farmer where if my cow got out, my neighbor would help me rope it back in. So I could see how that does tie the community together, where now like every job we have is like, we're very, what's the word? It's like
mystic,
specialized, I guess.
Yeah, specialized.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it probably is breakdown of society. It's just sad to see.
I wanted to move on to tech, but do we have any final thoughts on this that anyone wants to share?
Do we want to do tech, or do we want to hold and do another podcast?
I mean, are we hitting against time?
We've hit about an hour.
That's time.
Yeah, we're at about an hour.
Well, how long do you guys normally go? I can go all day. I like talking
this
to you.
old man's bedtime.
Till either Ryan craps out because he's old, or till Ryan and I are fighting too much, and Tom's like, "All right, enough. We're done."
Only 6 p.m. I don't know what you guys are talking about. We got all night.
Alaskan boy's fine.
Well, your little girl fell asleep. It was clearly not exciting.
Oh yeah, we're golden.
Well, let's sum that one up, and then we can either break the next one to a new podcast or not. But it almost seems to me that the younger generation coming up is just kind of, there's like an element of despair. It's like, well, nothing I do is going to matter. There's nothing I can do to get ahead, so I'm just going to do whatever I want. There's no reason to voluntarily self-sacrifice, as Jordan Peterson would say. That's the keystone of society, is voluntary self-sacrifice. There's no reason to do that if I can't get ahead, and there is no society worth saving. So I might as well just YOLO. That's almost what it seems to me.
Okay, but I think I did hear at least Hunter say this, right? I don't know if everybody agrees that like it is possible, if you scrimp and save and live really frugally, that you might be able to make it, right? Because as Josh and I were telling our stories, like we definitely did that, right? We did it, and now today we're financially fine, right? I don't think either of us are just like rolling in, piles of cash, but like we're fine. But it sounds like the cultural zeitgeist has shifted to where no one wants to do that, right? That like we're not going to scrimp and save. We don't really care about it. But like, is that fair to say? Like, it is possible to do that. Just no
I
one
asked
wants to
that
do it.
question. Nobody wants to sacrifice anything, and then Tom cut me off because he didn't like my question. But, yeah, I asked that question, and it's interesting to me. Why does nobody in that generation want to sacrifice anything to try to get ahead? What, like nobody in this generation. I was talking about this person I know that keeps going on trips and buys new cars. He was buying brand new cars, straight out of high school that he had to get major loans for. He was not willing to drive a piece of crap car. So I am seeing that with the new generation. They aren't willing to sacrifice anything. Why?
Well, if only we had some people in that generation on this call.
Well, and I can kind of vaguely speak to it. And again, I'm categorizing everyone, and I shouldn't lump people together. But the trend I see is, and now I'm gonna sound more like my grandpa. It's that dang TikTok. It's the instant
Yeah.
gratification that we get. I mean, we're just constantly getting hit with like so much dopamine rushes. Like whatever I want, I could get it in 5 minutes. Like I can see whatever I want on the internet, I can go wherever I want. And so there's not really the need to sacrifice because like I can almost view the world from my phone. So you have the internet that has created this like mentality of it's immediate. I can get it now. And then that kind of drive to like go and get it yourself, I think is going away, if that makes sense, because I can experience the world through my phone and it's immediate gratification. Where previous generations, like if I wanted to go to Florida to visit Ryan, like I couldn't just like look it up on my phone and look at Disney videos or even watch. You can go to Disney Plus right now and watch people riding the rides at Disney on Disney Plus. Like, and that's a very common thing people do. But if you want to get there, you have to make sacrifices. You have to save up money. You have to like have a good job that pays you enough to go. And so I think instant gratification has really done a disservice to people's like drive to sacrifice to go get more. That's what I'm seeing.
Kids can't afford a trip this year, so we're gonna watch this other family ride.
Dude, you joke about that. We did that this year. We watched rides on Disneyland on Disney Plus because we couldn't go.
Don't do that. No,
most people just take out a loan. Do that instead of taking out a loan.
Either. Like, go camp out in your backyard. Just like turn off the devices. Turn off the devices. They're gross.
Yeah, they are.
Hunter,
and I think
come on, Hunter, get in on this.
And that's what he does.
No, I just don't have anything to add. I mean, you're all saying what I was thinking. I mean, even Jake and I actually met working at RC Willie's back in the warehouse, moving furniture and going to school at the same time, working nights, barely seeing our wives and stuff. So we definitely put in the work that we had to get to where we were going.
Yeah. And tell them that was full-time school and full-time employment. Yeah. Like we would switch off who was working so the other one could do homework. Like I think, did have to do a little bit of that element of sacrifice.
Yeah, and then I was able to come out of undergrad without any loans, but I definitely had to get loans for law school, and that was even with the selling the house, like I was telling earlier. But I would agree, it's a lot of that social media. It's easy to see other people successful, and you want to keep up. And if you don't seem like you're doing well, then somehow your personal worth is degraded, and so if I go into a bunch of debt, I can be the cool guy on Instagram or whatever it is. So I agree with that sentiment.
See it too. I think you guys are right, but that's rough.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your sobering views, everybody. That's fun. The funny thing is I actually feel like the last couple podcasts,
and it's getting worse.
Well, the last couple of podcasts, I think we have taken on like, man, yep, they're all corrupt, and this is a problem, right?
They're hoping to get these fresh new views, and they're like, no, it's even worse than you thought.
Yeah, I know.
Burn it down.
No, I mean, I had conceded the like corruption of the politicians a while ago. You were talking about like we need to do a podcast on what we have finally agreed on, and I definitely do. I think what really got me was when I saw young people just blatantly cheating and did not care at all, and I was like, wow, this goes so deep. I can understand a bunch of rich, fat cats in DC who are corrupt beyond corrupt. Like, I get it, but it's a lot more than just them.
Well, I listened to that podcast, and that's part of why I wanted to come in and do this, like the generational difference. Like it shocked me, honestly, but I guess it shouldn't have. Even in law school, we have to take a professional ethics class, and it's mandatory at every law school. And you have to, you learn what's acceptable to practice law and the standards of ethics you have to have. And they always pose like hypotheticals of, well, this lawyer did this, and this is the scenario, and what's going on. And I was honestly shocked by the responses of other people in the class of what level of corruption they were okay with, that they said that was fine. Like there was even the one that stuck out to me. I was like one of 3 students who like took the other position on it, and it was somebody that went in, hacked the system, and changed their grades to graduate law school and get past the bar. And people were like, well, as long as they admit it and come before the board, then it's totally fine. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, these are the people we want to be lawyers and judges and go into politics. And I even got the nickname of the hanging judge because I wasn't okay with it. They're like, you're the most moral guy here. Like, I got a nickname because I was not okay with hacking a system and changing the
moral judge.
That's awesome. Alarming.
That's a pretty low bar, but
yeah.
Your final test is to try and cheat and get this quiz past me here.
Well, as we can see, those are the people that have become the lawyers and the politicians.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if you were in on this conversation, Josh. I think it was this past summer when I was out there, right? So I was out in Utah visiting family or whatever, and I had a long conversation with Danny. And he said by the time, and I probably shouldn't out him on this, right? But by the time he ended his career, because he's largely retired, he was one of the most hated attorneys in Ogden. And the reason he said, right now, again, I'm only getting his side, but the reason he said is he would never sell out his clients. That it was not an uncommon practice that he would get calls from other attorneys and they're like, look, if you'll give me this one, I'll give you that one. And they'd just do it over lunch all the time, or they wanted to go golfing. And Danny was like, I am not going to sell out my attorney and like my clients for you. I'm going to destroy you in court. And as a result, all of the other attorneys absolutely hated him because he would not play the corruption game with his clients. And I was like, oh my gosh. And Hunter is speaking to this, right? This is exactly what Hunter just said, is like, they're a bunch of corrupt bastards who don't give a shit about anything but themselves. That's deeply problematic, right? And this is where we are.
To Josh's point, like you always think like, wow, what horrible candidates we have running for the president, right? When you have like Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and you're like how do we get such an awful pairing? And I've come to the conclusion a while ago that the only way you get to that point of being a candidate is you've just completely like.
There's no more
like the good guy. He was gone a long time ago because one, he wasn't gonna sell out, right? And he was gonna, so he would like, oh, we can't have that guy. We need someone who's morally compromised that we can bring into this, is what I've always felt. And I don't know if you guys agree or not.
Unfortunately, yes. This is why I will never be president of the United States.
The 2 turds.
The shiniest of the 2 turds. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, I would love to actually run for political office because I don't think I'm corruptible. Right. Once I was making like a relatively minimal amount of money where I just didn't have to worry about food anymore. Money doesn't matter to me. Like it's just, it's meaningless anymore, that it's like, oh, I have to have more. I don't care. Can I eat? Can I survive? I'm good. So I'm fundamentally not corruptible in that sense. And I'm sure people will be like, oh, everybody's have their price. And I'm like, no, I actually don't. And thus I will never be a politician.
Well,
I don't have a price.
It's not just money.
I'll admit publicly
power.
Sorry to cut you off, Josh.
Oh,
you're good.
Go, Hunter.
I'll publicly admit that I would rather vote for a honest and moral Democrat over anybody else that's corrupt. And I would hate their policies, and I'd tell them they're idiots because I don't like what they're doing. But I would rather have them in office than the corruption.
I would too. I have voted Democrat. Or I've like not straight party line, but I voted for Democrats because they seem more honest or more aligned to my ideals. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean that this podcast proves it. Coming on tonight, I was supposed to be on Ryan's side because it seemed I could be 4 conservatives against 1 liberal, I've legitimately agreed with everything Ryan said, like 98%.
Yeah.
Apart from some of the communist bullcrap, right?
Yeah.
Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. Are you a good person? That is far more important to me. And as we're seeing with the Epstein files dump, they're not across the board, left and right. They all suck.
Yeah, I can't, because usually I couldn't vote across the aisle, because usually they're even if they're not corrupt, they're voting with a basket of policies, right? They're like kind of tending towards the policy. So that's why I'll vote, but like, that's why Kanye West was, 2024 for me. But he surprisingly didn't go anywhere. But
Nazi Kanye.
You should have voted for
he's crazy
nuts.
now. Yeah, he's nuts.
All right, let's end the podcast. Let's wrap this one up. I think we should do another one if we still have steam, but this one has gone an hour and a half.
Yeah,
that's fine.
All right, final thoughts. Anyone want to chime in?
We're all doomed.
Great.
What positive things do you guys see coming? Any hope for the future? What do you guys see? Let's try to end on a better note.
So let's let Hunter answer that one first. Maybe Alaska's more optimistic.
Yeah, put me on the spot. I don't know. I think there are some positive notes to be on, right? There's always going to be those things that need to be fixed. Society's plagued with problems because we're all human and make mistakes and are corruptible. But I've also noticed with younger people that there does seem to be a better understanding of what issues there are, along with the social media comes the information. So people are able to see what's going on across the country and maybe be a little more informed. Obviously, there's the negatives that follow with that of, are they getting good information and are they actually processing it correctly? But a more informed society, I think, is always a better society. So I think that's a benefit, and I think younger people are going to be able to use the technology as they learn to get through it to improve things. So I don't think it's all doom and gloom, as much as it's not fun to talk about the nice stuff. So that's why we focus on the doom and gloom. But I think there is some positives.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the only positive I see is the American hockey team won gold. So patriotism's through the roof right now.
Both men and women.
Yeah, men and women. Also, patriotism exploded because the girl figure skater, I don't know her name, but she won gold too. Yeah, Amanda Lou. And I saw this TikTok, and I talk crap on TikTok, but I'm watching it like 2 hours a day. But I saw this TikTok where it was like, it was the guy talking to his friend. He's like, well, that Amanda Lou is pretty woke, right? Like, aren't you conservative? And the conservative's like, you think I give a shit? This is America. We got gold. I don't care what she believes. We're beating other countries. That's them. And I'm like, yeah,
bring us together.
Take that position. Like, and I think that maybe that's where my optimism is I think the media portrays us as we're super divided, that like America just hates each other. But when I'm like in having these smaller conversations with people around me, I think there is still an idea that, hey, we don't love what's going on with politics, but at the end of the day, I think we're still Americans. We're still going to try to take care of each other. We're a country where we should have some form of patriotism. And at least maybe it's just in my small community that I live in. And when I say community, like Morgan County, also like the work community I have, every attorney I work with is very immoral for sure, but they all have this idea that like we're trying to make this system work. And it's cool to see that there's definitely some patriotism. There's respect for the government and the policies that we're trying to see move forward. So I don't know. My hope is that my optimism is that the citizens of America will continue the idea of, hey, America should be a great country. It should be a great place to live. We should take care of each other, build up our community as a country. I don't know. That's the only optimism that I presently can think of in the political world.
I'm hearing that an external threat might be the best way to bring us all together as Americans.
Yeah, another 9/11.
Yeah, exactly. Woohoo!
Just kidding.
We need astrophages, Josh.
There we go. Little Project Hail
Did
Mary.
anybody else get the reference?
I didn't
know.
It's a
Project
great
Hail
book.
Mary.
Everybody should read
good
it.
book, and there's a movie coming out. So It is an external threat. It's an alien species that is killing our sun.
Yeah,
and
bring the
everybody
world
comes together.
The whole world comes together. Kind
There
of.
we go. I'll pray for
Yeah,
one
that's what we
tonight.
need. I agree with that. Let's all pray for that tonight.
On it.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
No, thank you.
Josh, we may not always agree when it comes to politics, even though we're trying, but there is one thing we agree on. There is only one way to clean up after going to the bathroom, and that's with a Lux bidet.
I've been a proud owner of a Lux bidet for years. I have literally owned a Lux Neo 320 since 2013. That's the warm water model. Talk about happy, fun, poopy time. When I leave the bathroom, I know I'm clean and ready to talk politics in a civilized manner.
Exactly. Using a toilet without a bidet is about as uncivilized as it gets. Civil conversations demand civil hygiene practices.
And that is why our listeners should get themselves a Lux bidet.
And just to be clear, Lux is not supporting one side or the other in this podcast. They support civil conversations and clean butts.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Finding Common Battlegrounds. The music is by Ben Sound. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and not those of their employers. For more information or more episodes, you can find us at findingcommonbattlegrounds.com.